Tonight's review is on continuous improvement. As you can remember, if you can still remember, in our previous review, we mentioned and reviewed about DepEd Order number 44 Series 2015, the guidelines on the Enhanced School Improvement Planning or SIP process and the School Report Card or the SRC. So in one paragraph, na-mention po ang CI. Ito po, based on a comprehensive review of the 2009 SIP and the SRC, including consultations with various stakeholders, enhancements were made to the school improvement planning process. These enhancements build on the policies and processes already in place, strengthening the relationship between the SIP and SRC, and harmonizing the planning process with the continuous improvement or the CI process. It thereby provides a more evidence-based, responsive, systematic approach that aids the school in planning with their learners' perspective in mind. So, let's find out more about SI or school or the continuous improvement process. So in this methodology, you will learn that there is a step-by-step approach to solving a problem. This is called the triple A. Huwag ninyong kalimutan ang triple A, which stands for assess, analyze, and act. Triple A, assess, analyze, and act. So I mentioned also in our previous topic about school improvement planning about the relationship or the connection of our school improvement plan with the national plan, regional plan, and the division plan. So with the issuance of the basic education development plan at the center office, nagkaroon na ngayon ng Regional Education Plan at Division Education Plan, which is the basis ng ating School Improvement Plan. So nagkaroon ng mga targets sa division at yun din ang mga targets natin sa School Improvement Plan. So the continuous improvement methodology also ties with our school improvement planning. So the DepEd strategic planning targeting the goal setting takes off from where the Department of Budget and Management cascades the national level education targets. In turn, the DepEd Central Office assigns targets to the regions while considering their individual situation. Each regional office shall be assigned targets. The regional office does the same to their division offices. The division then gives the school's learner outcome targets. The trigger will be top-down, but the process is iterative and consultative. So sa schools po natin, the identified priority improvement areas linked to the school measures will be the basis for the targets. Ano po itong tinatawag na school measures? Ito ang mga performance indicators sa apat po na key result areas. So apat na ngayon ang key result areas, di ba? Ano yung apat? Review tayo. Na KRA natin. Or key result areas. Ano yung una? Please type on the chat box. Access. Very good. Sa Leonard. Sunod. Ay, sandali lang. Equity, ang governance po hindi na siya KRA. Siya po ay enabling mechanism. Quality, yun, kumpleto na. Resiliency and well-being. So do not forget the IO ha. Memoryahin ninyo ang IO, Intermediate Outcome per KRA. Mga ano lang naman yun eh. Short IO. So you can see in the diagram on my screen, the school improvement plan is developed using a process that assess the possible improvement areas for the school and then prioritizes this for further action. Yung AAA, ano yung AAA? Assess, analyze, and act. So in the act stage of the school improvement, the various tools of continuous improvement are used to understand the problem areas, develop, and implement solutions. So I really feel nga importante na maging topic ito natin para ma-digest natin ng maayos ang iba't ibang steps to be followed in conducting following continuous improvement methodology. Although generally there are 3 phases: assess, analyze, and act. Pero in each phase, there are steps. Yun ang ating hihimay-himayin isa-isa. Ano bang tinatawag na continuous improvement? It is a methodology to continually assess, analyze, and act ang AAA on the performance improvement of key processes, focusing on both stakeholders' needs, and the desired performance. Continuous improvement means good, better, best. Never let it rest till the good is better and the better is best. And the best is sustained. Kung best na tayo, so dapat i-sustain, hindi patulogin lang. Ito yung po ang tinatawag ng parang motto ng continuous improvement. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till the good is better and the better is best and the best is sustained. So ang AAA again, assess, analyze, act, the method used in school improvement. So basically sa assess stage is phase based on strategic direction from the division office, a school-specific environmental scanning as well as identification of internal and external factors is undertaken to arrive at the school level priority improvement area so as to address the sources of problem. So nag-a-assess tayo para makita natin o matumbok natin ang mga priority improvement areas in each KRA. Ano ang PIE natin sa access, sa quality, sa equity, sa resiliency and well-being, so, at saka sa enabling mechanism, governance. Sa analyze naman, so to address priority improvement areas, school-specific strategic objectives and targets are set, appropriate solutions are formulated, and school improvement plan or SIP is developed. So generally, anong ginagawa sa analyze? So yung ina-address yung priority improvement area or areas. Then, ginagawa natin ng mga specific strategic objectives and targets. So sa ngayon, meron tayong tinatawag na intermediate outcome. So yun na ang magiging target natin, di ba? Generally, based sa mga KRA na apat na yon, tapos may mga sub-intermediate outcome. Then appropriate solutions are formulated. So doon yung sa analyze. So dito sa appropriate solutions are formulated, dito na gagawa ng iba't ibang mga project. So sa paggawa ng mga project, magpapalo sa CI process. Saka pag meron ng mga projects, Pag gagather na ito at saka na iko-combine into a school improvement plan. Parang, ano siya, ipag-iisahin yung mga proyekto na ginawa ng mga project teams. So sa ACT naman, to implement the SIP, school-specific SI or school improvement projects are identified in the action plan. School improvement project teams are then organized to implement the project and check for its effectiveness. SIPs are also regularly evaluated for effectiveness and impact. So kasama sa ACT stage and monitoring and evaluation. So pagkatapos ng ACT stage, pagkatapos na natin i-implement ang mga projects, anong gagawin? Magkakaroon din tayo ng project closures. Project closures. Kasama sa project closure ang mga rewards and recognition. Ito po ang project stages. Kung tayo ay magko-conceptualize o gagawa ng proyekto sa paaralan, dapat ito ng mga steps ay or stages ay pagdadaanan natin para maging napakaganda po ng kalalabasan ng ating proyekto. So, sa stage 1 which is assess, there are 4 steps or stages. First is get organized. Second, talk with stakeholders, walk the process, and identify priority improvement area. Pagkatapos niyan, nagawa na natin yung 4 na steps, saka na papasok yung analyze stage. Merong 3 mga gawain sa analyze stage, yung do root cause analysis, develop solutions, finalize improvement plan. Then sa stage 3 which is act, ito na ang piloting your solution, roll out solution, and check your progress. So ito po ang 10 steps in conceptualizing a conceptualizing, making and implementing a project. So, hindi basta-basta pala ang paggawa ng isang proyekto. So, let's start with step 1, get organized. So, remember, there are 10 steps. Anong ginagawa po sa get organized? So, in get organized is the first step in the assess stage of the school improvement or SI project process. So in this step, critical school measures related to the division and school agreed targets will be identified and used as reference to assess the school performance. So the result of the assessment will be used to select a process that will be prioritized for the SI project. SI means School Improvement Project. After selecting a project, key people will be identified to be part of a team. Then the team members will be asked to assess, analyze, and act on the process being improved in the project. Sa paragraph na ito, this is actually the summary of the things to be done in the assess stage. Isa-isahin natin. So question, what pre-work is needed before we select a SI project and form a SI team? So our school improvement plan, SIP, should have identified the priority improvement areas based on the targets negotiated through a consultative process between the division and the school. Then we have identified the school measures that will contribute to the attainment of targets in the priority area defined. These measures shall be the reference point of our assessment. So pag-aaralan natin, i-assess natin ang mga performance indicators natin. Ano yung mga school measures tell us something important about our outputs and how we deliver them. They help us understand, manage, and improve what our organizations do. So actually, ang term natin sa school measures na ito ay performance indicators, lalo na sa access. So, ayan, an example doon sa gitna. Ano yung mga example ay school measure, achievement rate, graduation rate, dropout rate, awards and recognition, staff development level. So ano yung mga example ng school processes? Leadership training, attendance monitoring, guidance counselor, guidance counseling, remedial process, curriculum delivery process. Kahit na yung pagkolekta ng basura that sa school or yung waste management, that is a process. So there are so many process in our school. Kasama diyan enrollment process, laxation process, uh, kahit na yung teaching learning process, ino-observe yan. Kahit yung checking of attendance process. So professional development and service training and gender examples are in service training and gender and development, awareness development. So ini-establish natin actually sa SIP, ito po ang tinatawag natin na sa part 1 na school current analysis of school current situation. So ito na ang mga example ng mga school measures. I have already mentioned this. Reduction, child protection and nutrition, student performance score or the MPS, teacher development, SBM accreditation or SBM level of practice, and sufficient infrastructure. Ito naman po sa ating mga infrastructure buildings, saka mga equipment. All right. So, pagpalagay na natin na ang SPT ay naka-identify na ng priority tapos nang i-assess ang school current situation through the different performance indicators. At nakita na ng SPT na-identify na ng SPT ang priority improvement areas. Bawat KRA, key result areas. So kapag meron na yan, gawa na rin ang SPT ng general targets and objectives. So susunod na po niyan ay paggawa na ng mga different projects sa bawat priority improvement area. Example sa dropout rate. Isa sa PIA ang dropout rate, napakataas. So gagawa ng project ngayon or program para ma-zero or mabawasan ang dropout rate. So gagawa tayo ng project at merong criteria sa pagpili ng project. Ano ito ng mga criteria? The project selection criteria involve the following. Una, the expected project outputs and or outcomes support the targeted performance indicator or school measure. Siyempre, kung dropout rate ang target mo na zero or babaan, siyempre ang project sa pangalan pa lang ay once narinig mo pa lang ang title ng project na yan, ay masasabi natin na tungkol yan sa pagpapababa o pag-zero ng dropout rate. Next is the project revolves around the improvement of an identified internal school process. Yun. Okay. Anong project? Maraming mga factors kung bakit napakataas ng dropout rate. Maraming factors. So doon sa factors, magkakaroon ng tinatawag na root cause analysis. Ano ba ang pinaka-root cause ng nagpagtaas ng dropout rate sa school? So, kaya pag na-identify na ang root cause, doon na mag-i-evolve ang improvement. Anong proseso? Baka naman ang problema sa dropout rate ay teaching learning process. Teacher ang may kasalanan. Basta kailangan na ma-identify ang root cause para doon mag-revolve ang isang proyekto tungkol sa dropout rate. Ibig sabihin, sa dropout rate pa lang pwede isa o dalawa o tatlo ang maging project. Lalo na kung, maraming mga factors ang na-identify na, contributory factors sa dropout rate, 'di ba? Para may focus ang isang project. Next, project selection criterion. The project has outputs and outcomes which are realizable. Ito, smart, realizable within ito 6-month target project duration. Take note, 6 months from the assess stage to the act stage. Itong palaging sinasabi ko na kung talagang susundin natin ang CI na project process, ang bawat project natin sa school, ang buhay lang niyan ay sa loob lamang po ng 6 na buwan simula sa assist stage hanggang sa act stage. Hindi 6 na taon na, gano'n pa rin ang project natin, banner project pa rin. I don't know, pag-usapan natin ang banner project lalo na sa mga taga Region 8. Ilang taon na ba ang banner project ninyo kung meron? Or paiba-iba kayo bawat taon? Ano, can you react sa chat box? Sino-sino sa inyo ang may mga banner project at ilang taon na yan? Kasi ang project according dito sa guidebook na ito ay dapat 6 na buwan lang. Pagkatapos ng 6 buwan, i-evaluate, iko-close siya. So kung maganda ang dating, isusustain siya or dapat may modification. According to Sir Abel, 2018 pa po ang kanilang banner project. Hindi pa rin nababago ang pangalan. I think 8 years na. Oo nga, di ba time pa yun ni Director Oitico ng mga banner projects natin. Hanggang ngayon, kasama pa rin yan sa SMIA report, banner project. So, parang mayroong misconception about banner project. Anyway, pwede naman na pwede naman magpatuloy ang banner project na yan, ang name, pero dapat inaano siya, every 6 months ini-evaluate siya kung ano na ang kanyang kalagayan, kung effective pa ba o hindi. So kung very effective, so i-sustain. Kaya siguro dumarating ng hanggang 2018 pa hanggang ngayon, yun pa rin ang banner project kasi very effective. Pero kung hindi naman effective ang project, tapos 5 years na, may problema dyan. Okay, next is project activities are generally executable and within the control of the project SI team. Kung mga activities daw sa project na 'di ba, may programs, projects and activities dapat under the control, not beyond the control of the project team or through a local or division level stakeholder with whom the SI team can partner. So wag kayong mag-ano diyan, maglilista ng mga activities sa ating mga projects na beyond our control o hindi natin pwedeng ma-attain. Okay, next, the project does not require a capital outlay to execute. Very important ito. So, ilan ba ano bang tinatawag na capital outlay? What's your understanding about capital outlay? Mag-share tayo sa chat box. Basahin ko na lang inyong ano. Oh, sandali. How do you understand capital outlay? Wait lang. Okay, how do you understand capital outlay? Expected target amount for the implementation. Ano pa? Di ba meron tayong types of budget? Jump tayo sa budget. Meron tayong personnel services budget. Meron tayong MOOA. Meron tayong capital outlay. So, ano yung capital outlay? Require a capital outlay to execute. Okay, tama yung sabi ni teacher to everyone. Funds allocate for acquiring and maintaining its long-term assets. Correct. Capital expenditures for a project. Budget funds for big tickets projects. So how much? Question is how much is the capital outlay? So the minimum capital outlay. Ito. Ayaw bumaba. How much is the capital outlay? 15K lang? No. To more than 50K. Tama po si Ma'am sa Adia, Estrella. So kapag ang budget ay more than 50,000 na, tama din si Ma'am Jen Abanes, 50,000 and above na budget is considered capital outlay. Ha? Kaya kapag tayo ay gumagawa ng mga project proposal using our MOA, hindi talaga dapat lumampas ng 50,000 ang budget per activity or even yung yung kabuang budget ng proyekto. Kasi kapag halimbawa repair and maintenance of CRs more than 50,000, nako, hindi approve yan ng ating division engineer at saka division accountant or finance office kasi magpas tayo sa threshold na which is 50,000 and above capital outlay. So yung capital outlay, iba po ang na pondo ay yun, tama. Ginagamit po siya sa construction of uh, school buildings and facilities and for major repair. Kaya ang MOA ay magagamit lang sa minor repair. Ano yung kailan natin masabing minor repair lang? Below 50,000 ang amount ng repair. Kasi kapag more than 50,000 ang amount ng repair, that is capital outlay na. Hindi na natin pwedeng gamitin ang MOOA. Okay? Next. Okay. Ito po ang template pag gumagawa ng project. Ayon po ito sa guidebook na inilabas ng DepEd noon pa. Ito ang template dapat pala natin sinusunod. Project title, name of the school and project, and the project team members. Sunod na part, background, school profile, school measures, voice of the, VOC, voice of the children, or voice of the stakeholders. Then project scoping or CPOC. Project scoping, we will be talking about it later. Then current state, ito na school current situation, process map, data gathering ang presentation, problem statement. Then sa analyze stage, problem analysis, root cause analysis, validation of causes, prioritization of valid causes. Then implementation plan, sunod na part. Ano ang parts ng implementation plan natin? Objective, statement, solution generation, value analysis, improve process diagram. So doon sa assess, meron dyan process map, yung current process. Example, ano ang current enrollment process natin doon sa current stage. So kung nagkaroon kayo after analyzing that process ng enrollment, nagkaroon kayo nakita ng problema, so doon na sa implementation plan yung improve process diagram na. Then task and timeline, yung task are the terms of reference and the timeline. Budget and resources, very important, hindi tataas lang 50,000. Stakeholder analysis, evaluation of implementation risk o yung tinatawag na risk analysis. Sa SIP natin, meron tayong risk analysis, di ba? Then test results, piloting, rollout, before and after, cost-benefit analysis, and K-learning, project closure, and project sharing. Ito pala ang different parts ng ating project template, supposedly. Okay. So meron na tayong na-identify na project. Example, project bata. Narinig na yan. Project bata. Pinaka-purpose niya ay increase enrollment. Dahil pababa ang enrollment, kaya magpa-project bata tayo. Project bata. Okay. Meron ng project. Susunod, dapat mag-organize tayo ng project team na sila ang in charge niya na project. Siyempre, sino ang head? Of course, school head. Tayo pa rin ang pamuna in coordination with the School Governance Council. Hindi na yan po ito governing council ha. Baka lumabas yan sa exam. At tapos ang mga choices, School Governing Council. Tapos another choice, School Governance Council. Ang bagong name ngayon ng SGCI, School Governance Council. Tandaan po natin ha. Bakit po mayroon sa school SGC dito sa project team tapos may broken lines papunta doon sa school head. Meron niyang ibig sabihin. Bakit hindi straight line or not broken lines? Ang naging symbolism dyan. Ano bang trabaho ng School Governance Council? Okay. We'll be discussing that kapag dumating po tayo sa Domain 5. Doon na yung magiging focus natin ng trabaho ng roles and parang functions ng SGC. For the meantime, sa pag-establish natin ng organizational chart ng isang project team, ito po ang susundin natin. Huwag natin kalimutan yung SGC. So project team, then you have school is I facilitator, school is I trainer. Then is I team 1, team leader, then members, school improvement team 1, school improvement team 2, school improvement team 3. Ibig sabihin, this organizational structure, mayroong 3 projects dito. Diba? So, sa natin, maganda ito gumawa tayo ng ganito doon sa ating school. Kung meron tayong 10 project, so dyan sa ilalim, magkakaroon ng 10 SI team. Then may team leaders at saka members. So yung mga SI trainers at saka SI facilitator, siguro ito po ang ating mga master teacher na magagaling. Pwede rin mga department heads sa secondary department heads. Of course, may alam tungkol sa school improvement. Now, let's come to criteria for selecting members of school improvement team. Ito na nga. Dapat pipili tayo ng mga teachers na pasok sa criteria na ito. Kapag hindi pasok sa criteria na ito, huwag na natin gawing team members. The members of the SI team, school improvement team, should be creative. Unang criteria ng member, creative. Tapos, open-minded. Kung may kilala kayo na teacher na close-minded, Saka hindi creative yun ako, huwag mo isali yan sa is item. Parang kumuha ka niya ng bato at pupukpok mo sa ulo mo. These people should have high hopes. Yung mga parang ah, maganda ang mga hangarin sa possess kayang gawin, can do, kakayanin, will do, attitude, and very open to new ideas. So, yung mga sumasalangot palagi sa mga new ideas, huwag nyo lang isali. Kasi walang mangyayari sa project kapag ganyan ang mga attitude ng mga kasama sa project. So, ulitin natin ang characteristics na pagpili, creative, open-minded, kayang gawin attitude, kakayahan attitude, saka very open to new ideas. Team members should be good team players. Yun. Magaling makisama, may sense of collaboration and cooperation. These are people who know how to maturely handle the different personalities in the team. These people should also be respectable and credible. Pero kung maliit lang na school, 6 lang ang teachers, so wala talaga tayong pagpipilian. Pero sa mga big schools, like sa kagaya ko, meron akong more than 100 teachers. So, marami akong pwedeng pagpilian. So, the team should be composed of 3 to 8 members. So, pwede pala tatlong ano lang, members lang sa team. Pwede 5, hindi lalampas ng 8. The minimum of 3, maximum of 8 members because a smaller team can work and organize faster. Teams greater than 8 require additional facilitation and often require sub-teams. So magulo na kapag marami. So, mas maganda yung konti lang pero magagaling, creative, open-minded, facilitative, cooperative. Ano naman yung tinatawag na process owner? Yung process owner, siya yung parang ano, problematic situation. Halimbawa, ano, ang problema ay sa ano, low, low MPS. So, sa ISMEA ninyo, nakita ninyo, ang very low na MPS ay, ano, example lang ha, Filipino. So, ang process owner dyan ay yung mga ang Filipino department. So, tutukan natin ang Filipino teachers. Yung anong problema, bakit mababa ang NPS? So, sila yung process owner. So, in every project, there should always be process owner. Sila yung recipient. Sila yung ano, yung pinakabida dyan, hindi kontrabida. Ito yung mag-receive ng enhancement ng ano, subject for enhancement ng project. Yun po ang sa getting organized. So may process owner na. Na-organize na natin ang project team, na-identify na ang process owner. Tapos na po ang step 1 which is getting organized. So let's have some review question. Ito, review and additional inputs. Makibasa na lang po if you can read, then analyze, and then type your answer on the chat box corresponding the letter. This is now application. This is HATS, higher order thinking skills. Right. Please type your answer on the chat box. May sagot na B. Generally B. Ano ba yung situation? The student attendance rate for a particular school has consistently been at 100% in the last 5 years. If quality is measured by student attendance, what dimension of quality is demonstrated by the performance of this school? Is it A, performance, B, reliability, C, durability, D, conformance to standards, or E, none of the choices? Let's have the answer is letter B. Very good. Congratulations. Reliability, this describes the consistency of performance over time. In this case, the school's attendance rate has been at 100% in the last 5 years. Ano naman yung durability? A hard-wearing quality able to withstand pressure and other challenges. This quality, however, is unrelated to the attendance rate. Ano naman po yung conformance to standards? While the school's 100% attendance rate is certainly remarkable, it is important to note that we have maintained this standard in the last 5 years. In this case, reliability is a better dimension to assess the quality of the school's performance. Ano mean performance? While performance may seem very similar to the conformance to desired standards, reliability is a better measure in assessing the quality of performance through time. Okay. So reliability ang kailangan na quality of performance if we want to determine the performance using 5 years na trend. Next question. Natabunan siguro ang taas. So the number of students, ano ibig sabihin dyan? The number of students at risk to dropping out or SARDO is increasing beyond the standard set by the particular school. What project should the SI team conduct? Ito na. Nakita na yung priority improvement area, SARDO. Nag-i-increase. So anong project? Look into the external factors process that cause students to miss classes. Look into the internal factors processes that are used to monitor the students' attendance. C, help the students' parents earn more income so that the student don't have to work after class. Or D, construct new classroom to attract students to go to school. Anong mga sagutin niya? Parang very easy ito. May B, may A. Remember na dapat daw ang mga activities sa ating projects ay within our control, ha? Within our control. Dito ang konsepto na ito, dito nakasalalay, naka-anchor ang question na ito. Answer is letter B. Look into the internal factors process. SI project should focus on processes that the SI team can control. Yung mga external factors cannot be controlled. Like yung family problems, external factor yan. Hindi na natin pakialaman, dapat pakialaman yan. Gagawa tayo ng project to solve family problems of our students. Nako, that is external. Kaya nga ito, letter C, mali siya. Kasi external siya, external intervention that is outside the responsibility of the SI team. Yung construction new classroom naman, parang ano siya, we don't want projects that require capital outlay. Yan. Kasi ang construction new classroom as a project requires capital outlay. Instead, we need projects that are simply easy to implement, cost-effective, and have huge impact. Consider a leverage point. Next question. Kaya nabasahin niyo na lang, clear naman siya. Okay, anong sagot ninyo? B, C? Okay. Parang na-explain ko na ito. Ay naku, andiyan na pala ang sagot. Conformance to standard. Naku, conformance to standard. Kaya ang sagot sa number 3 is conformance to standard. The school was able to reach its desired standard, even surpassing it. Okay. Next question. The SI team is investigating the teaching learning process for reading to determine why many of the students are still non-readers. Relate tayo dito. The team decided to observe the teaching learning process of a particular teacher, but failed to inform the teacher the reasons behind the observation. In effect, the teacher thought that he or she was being audited and geared away from her normal teaching learning process. What challenge did the SI team experience in this scenario? Is it A, no project accountability? B, no clear process owner? C, no buy-in with the process owner? D, project sponsors did not break roadblocks? Or A, none of the above? No, none of the choices. Usually, nangyari ito sa ating IPCRF RPMS CO, Classroom Observation Rating, di ba? Nag-iiba si teacher kapag in-observe natin. Napakagaling niyang magturo. Pero pag talikod natin, back to normal. Back to normal. The answer, ano ang answer? Okay, usually, okay. Tingnan natin kung tama kayo. Right answer is letter D. Project sponsors repair to SI team did not break the roadblock. This was not a major roadblock that required project sponsor intervention. Challenge naman kasi dito ang question. So, ang process owner dito, di ba, I mentioned about process owner a while ago. So, dito sa situation na ito, ang process na owner is the reading teacher. So, I think you have already an idea of the process owner. The next question. ISI team is looking into the teaching learning process for reading to determine why many students are still non-readers. Non-reading gapon. So 2 months into the project, the team felt the need to consider the feeding program because most students in the class seemed malnourished. While looking into the feeding program process, the team decided to look into the process of cooking food. By the end of the year, the SI project is still ongoing and the team no longer knows what to do. What challenge did the SI team experience in this scenario? So ang problema ay non-readers, di ba? Why many students still non-readers? Pero ang tinutukan ng ng team ay yung feeding program. Kasi daw marami ang malnourished. Kaya ang apektado ang reading capacity ng mga readers, ng mga learners. So, ang challenge dito nila is it a failure to properly define the scope of the project? B, lack of stakeholder management. C, lack of concept and understanding of a process. D, mismatch of project team members. Or D, none of the above. So ano ang nagiging, what challenge did the SI team experience in this scenario? So, this kind of questions talaga mahirap, di ba? So, try to answer. May C, may D, may A, may C, A. Okay. Tingnan natin kung anong sagot. Answer is letter A. Very good. Congratulations. Failure to properly define the scope of the project. That means scope creep happened in this project. The SI team failed to properly define the scope of the project on the onset. Sa simula pa lang, resulting in an unmanageable range of topics to consider. So, about naman sa letter B, lack of stakeholders management, there's no mention of stakeholders in the scenario. So, talagang i-ano ninyo i-analyze ninyo ang STEM or yung scenario. Then, i-compare mo yung choices. The lack of concept understanding of the process. There's no indication that this item don't understand what the process is. Then mismatch of project team members. There's no indication that there is tension between project team members. So ano talaga ang problema? Scoping. Project scoping. Scope and delimitation of the project. Next. The result of the diagnostic reading test that was administered to grade 6 learners last 2013 shows that 83% of 633 students were diagnosed with the prostration reading level in word recognition. The school has set the desired goal that no student should be left at the prostration level. Which process should SI team investigate to address the school's problem? Set A, the remedial process for reading. B, teaching learning process of reading. C, attendance monitoring process of students. Or D, feeding program process. So, pwede na niyo i-cross out dito ang attendance monitoring at saka feeding. Parang irrelevant siya, di ba? So, ang magiging choice lang ninyo is it's either A or B. Okay. We see your answers. May A. So, may pumili ng remedial reading process. May A. Sige. Please answer. May B. May pumili ng teaching learning process of reading. Let's reveal the answer. Answer is letter B. Congratulations to the one who answered. Letter B, teaching learning process of reading. Bakit hindi letter A? Remedial reading is a reactive process. You want to be proactive. Okay. Ano ang question? Which process should the SI team investigate to address the school's problem? Kasi yung remedial reading, parang ano yan sa reaction to the problem. So, dapat, ang tingnan talaga sa pangkalahatan, ang teaching learning process ng reading subject. This process has a direct impact on the performance of learners in reading and serves as a prevention action as well. So, yun nga, yung C and D not related. Okay, last. The SI team is looking into the teaching learning process for science. Who is the process owner? SI team is looking into the teaching learning process for science. So mayroon na siyang clue word. Sinong process owner dito? Okay. Siyempre, letter D. Science teachers. They are able to monitor the overall health of the process and can implement improvements into it. Isa yung local government unit, external naman sila. SI team is no mention that the SI team is composed of science teachers. School head can oversee the health. Hindi naman siya ang teacher's science. Okay, now let's come to step 2. Talk with your stakeholders. Ito na ang, sabi na, ito na yung tinatawag na makinig tayo. Kasi sinasabi ng ating mga stakeholders. So it means, meron ng, na-identify na natin ang priority improvement areas, problematic situations, nakaisip tayo ng mga projects na. So, kailangan din natin ng mga inputs from the stakeholders para mas ma-enhance pa ang ating mga naiisip na mga solusyon. So who are our stakeholders? So I think no need to explain this one. We have been talking about stakeholders since even every day. So there are two types of stakeholders sa atin, di ba? Internal and external. Pero dito sa guidebook na ito, tatlo ang classification niya or apat. You have primary stakeholders, of course, the learners. Secondary stakeholders, parents. Tertiary stakeholders, future government employers and government. And then internal stakeholders, employees of institutions and teachers. Pero sa atin, ang nalalaman natin is internal, external. Sa internal, employees of institutions, teachers, kasama na ang learners, of course, school head. External, yung mga parents, at saka yung mga LGUs and other organization. Pero to be more specific, ito ang classification ng mga stakeholders. So step 2 again is listening to the voices of our stakeholders. Stakeholders have different needs. As an example, tingnan nyo yung example. Yung mga hayop na yan, animals na yan, represent the stakeholders. Tapos, sino yan na nag-announce? Nagsabi, for fair selection, everyone has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. Kung sino ang naka-highlight dyan? Kasi the monkey. Siya lang man talaga ang mabilis na anong ibig sabihin nito? So, meaning we should, in identifying the needs of our stakeholders, there's really a need to study very well para malaman talaga natin kung ano ang kanilang needs. Baka kasi na identify na natin ang needs nila, hindi pala needs nila. Okay? Some of the questions that have need to ask are, so in list, what is important to parents, students, and or teachers? What do students, parents, and teachers actually mean? What is our baseline performance from parents, students, and or teachers? Where can we focus our improvement efforts? Why are these needs important? So these are some of the questions that we should ask, listening to the voice of the stakeholders. There's an example here about donuts. Sabi dito ng tao, to avoid raising prices, we made the whole bigger and bigger until the donut finally disappeared. Si figure 2.4 customer value. So, parang ano, ito, this represent that the owner of the business establishment did not take into consideration the voices, reactions, and comments or the voice of the customers. Parang para sa kanya, alam niya kung ano ang gagawin niya para i-solve ang problem. Hindi siya nagkumonsulta sa iba. Kaya ang nagproblema, ang resulta, nalugi ang negosyo. So we must delineate in listening to the voice of our stakeholders. We must balance wants and needs. So dapat alam natin na ang sinasabi nila ay needs at hindi wants. Ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng needs at saka wants? Needs are what stakeholders expect to receive from a concept or service. Needs are more likely common across your stakeholders. Like sa atin, ano yung primary stakeholder, ang need nila ay, of course, generally quality education. Ano naman yung wants? Are preferences of a stakeholder on how to receive a concept or service. Wants may vary from stakeholder to stakeholder even if they share the same needs. Example, ang need ay quality education. Paano nila paano nila makukuha yung quality education? Iba-iba ang kanilang konsepto. When identifying stakeholder needs, several issues may arise. Yun nga, example, stakeholders may state that I need access to the internet. I need to have a projector inside the classroom. Diba, nag-i-interview tayo ng mga bata, ganyan, kailangan may internet, kailangan may projector sa classroom. However, the real needs might be, I need to have new teaching materials, or I need to have the entire class see the teaching materials. Hindi naman necessary pala na projector. Kailangan nila ay smart TV. Okay, I need to have new teaching materials, internet. So, kahit na walang internet, pwede naman magkaroon ng mga bagong teaching materials. So, dapat yan, ibig sabihin, i-analyze talaga natin kung anong gustong sabihin, ibig sabihin ng mga in-interview natin. Another example, I want an understanding teacher. Pero in reality, ang need talaga, I need to have a strict teacher. Ganon. Understanding teacher. Pero I need talaga a strict teacher. So yung in a good sense na strict to. For example, kailangan magaling sa classroom management si teacher. Kapag may nag-iingay, ni-reprimand niya kaagad. Hindi pinababayaan lang. Okay? In that sense, the teacher understand the situation of other learners who don't want to be, na maingay. Another example, I need a computer. We need books in the library. But real actual usage for these needs might be, I need a calculator, or we need a place for students to study. Not necessarily library pala. Kailangan lang nila ng lugar na kailangan nila makapag-study. So, imbes na tatayo tayo ng library, pwede na tayong gumawa ng mga maliliit na mga parang mga waiting sheds or shaded area, mga maliliit na tambayan o reading nook o reading place area sa ating school. Here are a few more example. Internal stakeholders may say we need to provide chairs in the classroom for our students. Another one, we need more classrooms. And the focus of the internal and external stakeholders So ang internal, sasabihin, we need to provide chairs in the classroom for our students. Tapos sabihin naman ng external, yung mga parents, we need more classroom. So the focus, ibig sabihin, the focus of the internal and external stakeholders are different. So they will praise their needs differently. So in terms of effectiveness, stakeholders may say, we need our students to learn. I need to finish my lessons on time. But if asked on focus on efficiency, stakeholders may say, we need our students to graduate. I need my students to understand the lesson. Ibig sabihin, kailangan may focus ang ating mga questions. Ang question na ipiprepare natin dapat swak doon sa gusto nating makuha na information. How can we get the voices of our stakeholders? You can have one-on-one, conduct personal one-on-one interviews which help identify and list what they really need and want. We can have also dyads or triads. Dyads or triads to obtain or capture desired outcomes with deeper and more refined understanding. And we have also more common to us, focus group discussion or observational groups to obtain deeper and more refined understanding. And we can have surveys through questionnaires, surveys to quantify the and verify. So these are some ways of getting the voice of our stakeholders. And there are other ways to get more information through qualitative research. Sa mga nag-aaral dyan sa graduate studies, I believe you are familiar with quali and quanti. So example of qualitative research in getting the voices of our stakeholders is home visits. The researchers or the teacher or the school improvement team or the project team member will go to the respondent's home and observes the practices of the respondent. The respondent is fully aware that he or she is being observed. Tingnan mo dong anong ginagawa ng estudyante. Anong kalagayan nila. It's getting information pala sa data. And then, class observation, di ba? The researchers observe their stakeholders in a natural environment. Example, where class decisions are made, where stakeholders spend most of their time. Usually, the respondents are not aware that they are being observed. Body panels, adult panels, anong going panel among stakeholders? Magmi-meeting, di ba? The respondents come in pairs wherein one is a moderator, the other one is co-moderator. This technique is effective among kids and teens because it is less intimidating and more fun. So tanda natin, the body panel is also effective in rapid concept prototype development. This allows researchers to establish a more intimate relationship with the stakeholders and gain more insights about their lifestyles, feelings, and attitudes. This technique can also be conducted on adults. So yung body panels pala ay maganda po sa mga kabataan or sa mga estudyante. And diaries. This is effective in rapid concept prototype development. The use of diaries allows researchers to understand behavioral changes in the adoption of a new ideas. Ito yung mga research instruments to be used in conducting qualitative research. Then conversations with experts or third parties. You have to talk to the experts. Example, problems na pwede silang makapagbigay sa atin ng mga inputs or technical assistance on how to solve the problem. So in school, the use of observation methods can be a good tool to gather information. The benefits of observational studies include Yung observational studies, the qualitative method. Understanding the exact process that the student go through when learning, determining home stresses that students are exposed to, understanding the ease, difficulty the students experience with certain activities, and understanding how teachers, students actually use teaching materials. Kaya kailangan talaga i-observe kung anong ginagawa nila, bakit napakababa ng NPS ng subject na ito compared to the other subjects. So we really need to observe, not rely only on numbers. Alright. So, tapos na tayo sa pag-gather ng data, lalo na yung non-numeric, yung mga data earned through qualitative forms of data gathering tool. Kasi yung mga numbers, madali lang siya i-organize into percentage. Pero ang challenge na dito ay kung paano natin i-organize ang mga responses ng ating mga informants, 'di ba? Kung nagkakandak tayo ng research or qualitative research, nag-i-interview tayo, nagkuha tayo ng mga information using words mula sa ating mga sources, ating mga stakeholders, ay kailangan natin i-process ito. So, in processing the responses of our stakeholders, pwede nating magamit ang tinatawag na affinity diagram. Sa graduate studies, meron itong sariling term sila. Pero dito sa atin, sa CI process, ang tawag ay affinity diagram. When gathering large amounts of language data, ito nga, language data, an affinity diagram helps grasp very large or complex issues, finds patterns in voluminous data, organizes ideas or issues, opinions, facilitates understanding. In short, igugrupo-grupo natin ang mga responses ng ating mga informants, yung mga na-interview natin. At saka, lalagyan natin ng theme. Kaya yung thematic organization. So, meron yung theme. Ang theme syempre is a word, a phrase, or a clause. So, mas maganda pwede yung isang word or isang phrase. The shorter, the better. So, under the theme, merong sub-theme. Nakalimutan ko yung sa research. Sa next siguro, ano ko yung mga may global theme, di ba? So, may theme 1, may theme 2. So, igugrupo-grupo ang mga responses according to kung ano ang pagkakapare-parehas ng kanilang mga sagot. So, paano paggawa ng affinity diagram? Gather ideas from interview, transcript, service, etc. Transfer data onto index cards. So, ngayon, hindi naman, pwede namang diretso sa computer, di ba? Gawa tayo ng table. Tapos yung mga parehas na mga responses, itatype doon, i-encode doon sa isang grupo. So, group the cards, label the group of cards. So, you can group and cluster into super clusters kung napakarami ang mga responses. So, in short, gugrupo-grupuhin natin ang mga responses according sa pagkakaparehas nila. That is affinity diagram. Okay, the same na ito. So, in getting the voice of the stakeholders, one should be careful in analyzing and interpreting data. There may be difficulties in translating what the stakeholder is saying to what we should be measuring. Bakit? Possible reason bakit hindi sinasabi direkta ni stakeholder ang kanilang ibig sabihin. One is the VOS are biased. The other one is the VOS are ambiguous to us. Hindi tayo maintindihan kung ano ba talagang ibig sabihin nila. Number one, the VOS can have many meanings. Yes. Then the VOS are not expressed as true need, nagiging wants. Then the difference between needs and wants is not clear, and the VOS has gathered from the wrong stakeholders. Ito yung mga challenges na kahaharapin ng mga gumagawa, nag-gather ng mga data, word data from our stakeholders. Oh, this is an example of an affinity diagram. Di ba? Tapos na mag-interview. So, inaisulat na ang mga significant observations, significant responses by phrases or through sentences. So, grupo sila by affinity. So, there are four themes dito sa example. This is hotel check-in process affinity diagram. So, ano yung mga themes? The right room, check-in experiences, available information, and ease of handling stuff. Example, anong mga responses under the theme the right room? Get my room key quickly. Get the room I reserved. Tell me how to get my room to my room. And room key needs to work. Make sure I get my room miles. Sa check-in experience naman, ano yung mga responses? Clerk should be friendly. Clerk should be able to resolve problems quickly. Check-in location should be obvious. Recognize me if I've been there before. Clerk should be courteous. Treat me special if I am a frequent stayer. Keep my personal data private. So, nagkakagrupo sila. Dahil ang mga responses ay about dun sa experiences nila sa pag-check-in sa hotel. So, this is an example of affinity diagram. Dito naman sa school situation, sample pa rin ito ng affinity diagram. Ito. Sandali na. Ay, may apat na theme dito. In-interview ang mga bata, mga estudyante, at itong lumabas na mga responses nila. Apat na grupo ang mga responses, sapat na oras sa klase, misaysay ang mga natutunan ko, akmang kapaligiran para sa pag-aaral ng Ingles, sapat na paraan para matuto. So, sapat na oras na sa klase, anong mga responses nakagrupo dito? Kailangan ko ng sapat na oras sa klase, gusto ko bigyan ako ng oras ni teacher para maka-recite, gusto ko tulungan ako ni teacher sa pag-practice, kailangan ko ng mas matababang time para maturuan kami magbasa, kulang ang oras para mag-practice, at gusto ko dahan-dahan sa pagturo. So this is an example again ng affinity diagram on how are we going to organize the responses of our respondents or informants. Sa paggawa ito ng project hindi ng research o ng dissertation. Paggawa ng school improvement project. Nasa assess stage pa lang tayo. Ito ang mga ginagawa dapat sa assess stage sa pag-conceptualize ng project. Okay, why are VOS or voice of the stakeholders important? Through this tool, we can identify the stakeholders' real needs. Yes, dapat talagang we go down to sa kanila. Dapat mag-reach out tayo sa kanila. Based on the VOS, the processes can be improved and monitored. Furthermore, we will be able to translate the key measures into concrete improvement plans. After thorough understanding the stakeholders' needs, we can then proceed to flesh out the process that best serves their interest. Ano itong flesh out the process? Sabihin, improve the process. Kung ang problema ay teaching the reading the teaching of reading process, so improve ang process. Remember, a stakeholder-focused organization understands the requirements of their stakeholders and measures how well these requirements are met. Okay. Tapos na tayo sa discussion about list to the voice of the stakeholders. Ito, basahin ninyong question. Question review tayo. Review questions. Kung meron kayong natutunan. ISI team decided to interview grade 1 students to gather the VOS regarding their performance in English. What is the most appropriate VOS method that the team should use to ensure that the students wouldn't be afraid to speak up? Ang kakausapin ay interview ng grade 1. Base sa ating naging discussion, ano dito ang pinaka-appropriate? Personal interviews, home visits, dyads or triads, expert opinion, or all of the choices? Alright. Anong sagot ninyo? Letter B, may C, may A. A, personal interviews. Baka matakot si bata. Yung bata kapag mag-personal, lalo na principal ang mag-interview. Walang teacher. Ba, performance sa English? Tapos hindi marunong magbasa si... Bakit hanggang ngayon hindi ka pa rin marunong magbasa? Eh kasi si teacher hindi nagtuturo ng maayos. Sabihin ba yun ng estudyante kung si teacher ang nag-interview? Okay, the right answer is letter C. Dyads or triads. Interviewing by peers or triads will help ease the nerves of the learners, and the SI team will be able to gather more valuable and dapat magka-partner, mag-tatlo-tatlo. Yung personal interviews, one-on-one interviews with teachers may intimidate the learner. So visit, the learner's performance in English related to the teaching learning process, which occurs in the classroom. There's no need to observe the learners at home. Yung expert opinion naman, because we're looking into the performance of learners in English, the view should directly come from the learners. Kaya, C ang tamang sagot. Next. SI team is creating interview questions to gather the VOS from their learners. One question that they want to ask is phrased as such. What do you think are the problems that the school will encounter if students are provided with computers in class? What bias is shown in this question? Is it unstated criteria? B, loaded question? C, ambiguous wording? D, leading question? Or E, all of the choices? Answer is may letter D, may E. Answer is leading question. The question is leading us to think that there is a problem with computers in class. Ano ibig sabihin ng unstated criteria? No criteria is needed for the question. Loaded question, the question has only one idea. Ambiguous wording, the wordings are not clear. So it's not ambiguous wording because the wordings naman ay clear. Loaded question, and it's not loaded question because the question only has one idea. It's a leading question kasi meron ng sinasabi dito, what do you think problem? Ano, may problema agad? Next. The following are the statements that SI team has gathered from learners regarding their science subject. Sabi niya dito, I want a quiet class so I can hear what the teacher is saying. I want a comfortable chair so I can focus on listening to the teacher. I want enough lighting to see what the teacher is writing on the board. What is the most appropriate theme for this group of POCs? Is it proper instructional materials? B, applicability of the lessons in real life? C, enough time to understand the lesson? Or D, conducive environment for learning? Or E, all the choices? So, let me see your answers. Okay, obvious naman, letter D. Okay, next. Ito. This is the explanation. The VOS will speak about the learning environment of the learners. Next, the last question. Reading process dito. What appropriate form of qualitative research can the team use? If you observe, the questions are situational na talaga. So, meron na kayong experience about situational questions. Okay, the right answer is process observation. Letter B. The team wants to observe the learners in their natural environment while undergoing the feeding program process. Bakit hindi pwedeng home visits? The feeding program happens in school, so there is no need to visit the learners at home. Bakit mali yung conversation with experts? The learners are the ones who experience the process, not the experts. Hindi rin pwede ang survey questionnaires. The objective is to observe the learners when undergoing the process. Survey questionnaires will not show what is actually happening. Okay. Now let's come to walk the process. Tapos na tayo sa listening to the voice of the stakeholders. Tapos na tayo mag-interview at na-identify na natin kung ano ang dapat pa nating tingnan. Hindi pa yan ang root cause yung problematic situation pala ang ating na-pinpoint. Ito pala ang problema. Ang prosesong ito ang problema. Actually, sa continuous improvement process, if you can if you will notice, ang tinitingnan talaga, ini-improve talaga, pinupukusan natin sa school ay yung mga pag-improve ng mga process, school processes. Kasi yung, di ba, teaching learning is a process, teaching learning process. Even yung yung writing lesson plan is a process. Kaya titingnan natin yung process. At saka even yung checking of lesson plan, that is a process. Submission of lesson plan is a process. Kaya yun talaga ng mga process ang dapat nating titingnan kung ano yung mga problematic at dapat i-improve. So the school measures did not appear from a vacuum. This must be the results or outputs of a process. Understanding this process is the key to identifying where the problems or kaya dapat talaga para makita, tingnan natin, ma-discover talaga natin ang pinakaugat ng problema ay i-observe at hihimay-himayan natin ang bawat aspeto ng isang process. Sample, bakit maraming absent sa subject na ito? Samantala sa susunod na subject ay halos 100% naman. Pero pagdating sa teacher na ito, maraming absent. So, titingnan natin kung anong proseso dyan sa klase niya ang may problema kung bakit nawawala ang mga bata kapag time na niya magturo. Okay. What is a process in the first place? A process is a set of activities that are arranged together in order to deliver a product or service. To set of activities in order to deliver a product or service. Example sa atin is learning. Anong proseso para ma-deliver natin ang quality learning sa mga bata? Example, ito. Ano ba ang proseso para magkaroon ng napakasarap na lechong manok? Lechong manok ba ito? Or fried chicken? Palagay ko, ano ito, lechong manok. Bago magkaroon ng napakasarap na lechong manok or fried chicken, may prosesong pinagdadaanan. Example dyan, una, pagpapalaki ng manok, pagpapataba ng manok. Kailangan yung manpower para alagaan ng manok para maging maganda. Tapos ang pag-dress chicken, ang ang proseso, pag-alis ng mga hindi kailangan, yung balahibo at sa kalamang loob. Tapos ang pagluluto, kailangan ng manpower, may proseso, may makina, yung mga ingredients, materials, hanggang sa magkakaroon ng isang napakasarap na fried chicken or lechong manok. So, may prosesong pinagdadaanan. Yung paborito nating Jollibee Chicken Joy, masarap na masarap yan kasi dumaan yan sa isang proseso. Diba? Ganyan din sa ating school. Nagkaroon tayo ng napakataas na MPS sa NAT, National Achievement Test, dahil dumaan tayo sa tamang proseso ng pagtuturo, pagsusupervise ng mga teachers, diba? Pagbibigay ng technical assistance. So process has different components and inputs that work together in achieving its goals. These components can be categorized as manpower, materials, machine, and method. Apat na M. Ano yung apat na M? Matandang, mayaman, madaling mamatay. Manpower, materials, machine, and method. Components and inputs of process. Yung manpower, of course, yung mga tao like teacher, student, parents, materials, test papers, chalk, teaching materials, machine, projector, television, speaker, microphones, method, the teaching methods and strategies, the way the teaching materials are delivered, student evaluation, checking of test papers. These components are very important in assessing the performance of their corresponding processes. Kahit pa lang yung sa conduct, the process of conducting quarterly examinations. So, bakit mababa ang may mga ang problema nakita natin tinatapos ng mga learners ang isang exam sa loob ng 15 minutes lamang or 10 minutes lamang tapos na. So bakit kaya? So pag-aralan natin ang proseso ng pag-conduct ng quarterly examination from the preparation of TOS, Table of Specification, checking of TOS, preparation of test questions na nakabase sa TOS, then reproduction of test question, and sa ano pa lang ng paggawa pa lang ng test paper is meron bang standard na pinapalo sa font style, tapos font number, gaano ba kalaki ang mga letters, at saka spacing, 'di ba? Ang pag-arrange ng mga choices. 'Yun, proseso 'yan. Baka overcrowded ang test paper kaya tapos maliliit masyado ang fonts. Kaya hindi na ginaganahan ng batang basahin ang test paper. Nakakasakit ng ulo ang overcrowded test paper. So why do we need to understand the process? We need to understand processes in order to know how a stakeholder's need or want is being met. Yun nga, without understanding the process, we can deliver a consistent, efficient, and effective way of achieving our stakeholders' needs and wants. So anyway, our primary stakeholders are our learners. To understand the process, there must be a way to represent or capture what is happening in reality. This is done through the use of a model. Another definition ng model? Models are representation of systems or processes. So, models enable the understanding, analysis, improvement, or replacement of a system or process. So, dapat magkaroon na tayo ng process mapping. So what is process mapping? It is the technique of using flowcharts. So yung mga model are the flowcharts to illustrate a flow of a process proceeding from the most macro perspective to the level of detail required to identify opportunities for improvement. Why should we map the process? It promotes the common understanding of the process among the SIT members. It clarifies the steps in the process. It helps identify the improvement of opportunities in the process, like the complexity, waste, delays, efficiencies, and bottlenecks. So kung minamap natin ang proseso, talagang nakikita natin kung saan ang bottlenecks. Saan yung bottlenecks? Yung tumatagal, step kung saan tumatagal ang proseso, takes time bago maka-ano doon sa next step. Like sa pagbabayad ng ng mga bayarin natin sa BIR. Anong step sa pagbabayad sa BIR na tayo ay tumatagal? So kung tumatagal doon, that is a bottleneck. It helps uncover problems in the process. It helps reveal how the process operates. It provides an opportunity to the SIT members to learn about the work that is being performed. Most processes today are undocumented, leading to more confusion and inconsistency. Kaya kailangan talaga i-process natin ang ating mga i-document natin ang ating mga school processes. The main objective of process mapping is for us to understand its importance and not just conduct it for the sake of documentation or reporting alone. Remember, you don't learn to process map, you process map to learn, according to Dr. Myron Tribus. Okay, before we continue to the different examples of process mapping or different strategies of process mapping, let's have a break first for 5 minutes. I'll be back after 5 minutes for personal necessity. All right, I'm back. Since it's already 8 o'clock, so we have already consumed the 2 hours. So uh, we'll continue our session on Saturday with this the different types of flow charts in mapping the process. So magkaroon pa tayo ng isang kasi mahaba ito na CI, continuous improvement na prepare ko para talaga mahimay natin ng to the fullest ang CI. Para talagang may baon kayo during the examination. Well prepared talaga about sa school improvement planning aspects of the test. Okay, okay lang ba? We'll have our next session on Saturday at 8 a.m. Continuation of this continuous improvement. Sige, we'll continue next on Saturday at 8 a.m. Tapusin natin ito na CI. Okay po, sa Ma'am Jean Abanis, I will add to you sa ating GC para updated ka po sa mga ipopost ko sa GC. Thank you very much all of you. Good night all of you. May klase na po bukas. I'll be reporting. I'll be traveling as early as 4 o'clock in the morning to my station tomorrow. Kaya kailangan na matulog ng maaga kasi magdadrive ako ng about 3 hours, 2.5 hours na travel from my house to my home to my station sa school. Malayong malayo. Although sa Northern Samar lang pero dulo. Point to point po ang station at saka ang school ko. Ay school ko at saka yung bahay. Kaya kailangan talaga maaga pa pumunta doon. Okay. So thank you very much. See you on Saturday.